Hello crafty friends, Louise Heinzel here. Welcome back to a new video here on my channel. Today I would like to talk a little bit about borders and frames. And for that I have my little inspiration keeper journal here on my desk. As you perhaps know from my previous videos, I'm collecting here some ideas for new journals. And it's all about painted or drawn ephemera and embellishments. If you missed the other videos, please go back to my channel and check out this playlist. I have a whole playlist where I show you some things. For example, those stamps here and some self-made masking tape and that stuff. All things that you can use to decorate your journal. And today I would like to talk about something that's in my mind for a few weeks, because I thought perhaps there are situations where you have a handmade journal like this and you think, okay, I like the arrangement of these pages here, I like this eco-dyed paper, I like old book pages or something like that. I like that you can see that this journal is upcycled, so because this is obviously an old shopping paper bag, and I don't want to overload my pages. Perhaps you say, I don't want to embellish my pages at all because I want to journal here, but it looks a little bit naked. It looks a little bit weird. So, of course, you could distress the edges and make this normal things that you would do with your journals, and that would of course look really nice, but I thought about something else, something that you can do instead of, for example, distressing the edges, but get a border or something like that for your journaling, for your titles of a page or something like that. And to practice that, to try things out, I decided that I want to do it here on those pages. I don't know until now how much space I would need, but I would like to start here. And I would like to make little examples of what you can do with really simple supplies when you want to have a border around your page. And in this video, I would like to take the focus on the, as I said, on the simple things and on the things that everyone can do with the things that you have at home. But of course, you can change this little idea like you want it with the materials and the mediums that you want. For demonstration, I use this black pen. But of course, you can do that with colored pencils or with this brush pencils or whatever. But for me, I would like to take this black. So what I will do now is, because I don't want to make a whole frame here or a whole frame here, I would like to make little things here, so that I have the possibility to have more than one example on one page. So perhaps a little bit confusing, sorry. I will show you in a second what I will do here. I take this little thing here because I can't find my ruler at the moment. And I just make some marks. Let me just do that. I show you that in a second, so that you can do it as well, so that I get, hopefully, when I do everything right, 6 little frames here. Okay, so now it looks like this. As you can see, I made these little marks here. Of course, you can do that in the size that you would like to practice this thing here from this little tutorial. So that I have a frame here with this 4 little dots, a frame here, and here, and here, and so on. So that I know, okay, this Upsala, sorry, this, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4 dots are one of my frames. And then I have those things here a little bit smaller, so I will get 6 frames out of the 6, Louisa. 2, 4, 6, yes, sorry. Sorry. I will get 6 frames, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I can practice this in a smaller size and don't have to do the whole page, around the whole page. And the first thing I would like to do is to start with really, yeah, simple things, like, for example, little dots. Because I think dots are always, sorry, are always a thing that, yeah, is always a thing that looks really nice. And I think when they are a little bit something like regular, then it can also look really elegant and, yeah, don't know the right word, but for example like this. And of course you can also measure this with your ruler. Oh, okay, and I just learned, don't go over this when the black ink is almost wet. I just made a little smear there, but yeah, hopefully that will not happen again. So I just go here around with my pen, and yeah, this perhaps reminds a little bit to bullet journaling, because they also do those things. So the pros of this method to journal would think, okay, what is she doing there? Because they of course do it really yeah, how shall I say, really regular, without such smears, and they measure a lot. But I think we can perhaps take those bullet journal elements for our journals. And yeah, now you can see that here. And you see this is really small. The dots are really small, and it's yeah, something like some are a little bit thicker, some are a little bit thinner. I don't like that. So I have this frame where I can work on, and I try to take my pen and bring it to the page and just wait a little bit, but that will not work, I think. No. I have to scribble around a little bit and make these dots a little bit more regular and a little bit bigger. But with this method, to do them first to their places, I think it's a little bit easier. Now you can enlarge them a little bit, and the whole thing hopefully will look a little bit better. I think that looks really nice. Imagine that this thing here is around your whole page. So this is only an example, of course. But when you put this around your whole page, then you have a really nice frame in a really short time. So the next thing I would like to do is take this 4 marks here and make a variation of this, so that I can see, okay, when I'm finished, do they fit together? Can I put them into the same journal? Or yeah, can I put them to pages that are next to each other, or will that not be possible? So let's try to make a variation of these dots. What can that be? For example, let me just take here my little thing. I think I have to put this away. For example, we can mix little lines with dots, and perhaps a little bit more irregular than before. Let's do 3 dots like this, and then 1 line 3 dots, 1 line, and so on. And as you can see, yeah, that's really irregular, and I end up here with the second dot from this, and here I have 3, but we are in the junk journal world and we don't care about that. So if we want to follow this rule with the 3 dots and the line, then why not putting this dot here and then make the next line here. And here we come up with this line in the edge. So let's go with the rest of the line in this direction. Like this. And now I like to make it, when you compare this, a little bit, I don't know the word, you know, can you see that? That this is not the same position on the other side, but I try to get it similar, so that this and this is the same proportion or something like that, like this and this, and this, and yeah, here I'm a little bit too high, from your perspective, too much on the right side, but yeah, junk journal. Okay, so how can I manage this that you can see anything? Sorry. Let's go this way. Three dots and our last line perhaps here. Whew. So I think that looks not that bad. Perhaps you think, okay, that's nice, but it looks a little bit weird in this journal. Of course, you can think of decorating those little frames here. Of course, you can put some scraps in here and stamp over them, or you can, for example, also put some washi samples here in these frames. I think that can look also really nice. Another thing that I've seen long time ago, I think that was, I think 2017, and I don't know who that was who made this incredible frame optic. Otherwise I would of course make a shout out for her, but I can't remember who that was. She made something like this, and she let the lines here cross each other a little bit on the edges, like this. So I think this is a little bit too short for this. And then, just a moment. And I think she did this step also freehand. Of course, you can do that. You don't have to take this thing that you get a really straight line. Of course, you can do that freehand, and then you have, yeah, something like a little bit more irregular thing, but I think that can look nice as well. So the interesting thing for this is that the lines here cross each other in the edges, very irregular as you can see, and then this woman just took 2 lines and crossed something like this frame. Don't know what you see, but I see a really cool thing. And a variation of this can be the following. So now I have to concentrate a little bit, because I have to do that freehand, because yeah, you can't do that with thing here, because oh my gosh, you can't imagine. I love this journal so much, and I have so much fear to make something wrong or something that I don't like. You can't imagine. Okay, so she goes. Can you see anything? Sorry. She goes like this, and then she does like this. And it's, for me, it's a little bit tricky to go from the right side to the left side, because when I want to scribble and I scribble in the other direction of my normal writing direction, that would be in this way, then it's a little bit tricky. So because of that, I don't go here, because it's, yeah, not so easy. I start on this point here, and that hopefully makes sense that we made this little marks here in the beginning, because now I know very easily from where I have to start, so that I can go in my normal writing direction. Do it like this. And here as well. Now we have another, I think, really cool frame. Okay, so what I also like are those little mini lines that give the imagination of a stitching that was made, for example, with a sewing machine or something like that. When you would like to have it really straight, then use your ruler or this thing here, a cardstock or something like that, with a straight edge, so that you can get it in this really regular optic like we did it here before. But when you want to have yeah, something like a junk journal style stitching, then do it freehand. And let's just try to make this little stitchings here. That would be, yeah, something like boring to do, and of course that would take a long time around a page, but believe me, it's worth it. I did that many times, and it's really relaxing when you decorate your journal with those things. Also, of course, with the others, but I think with this stitching thing, oh yeah, I call it stitching, so it are only little lines, but for me it looks like a stitching. When I do this, when I finished a journal and I want to have this optic here on several pages, for me it's something like a meditation when I do that. And here we have only a small frame, but when you do that on whole pages and on 10, 20, 50 pages in a journal, then believe me, you are really relaxed afterwards. So for me it's really yeah, a meditation thing. Yeah, you know what I mean. A variation of this, of course, can be to make zigzag stitch, but I don't want to make zigzag all the way. But you know, when you do a real stitching with your stitching machine, oh my gosh, that's the word of the day, the stitching machine. Welcome to the world of Louise Heinzl's Weird English. So what I wanted to say is, of course, your sewing machine. Sorry. Then you would perhaps do it like this and make something like a normal stitch. Let's do it like this. And then you will turn your sewing machine to the zigzag stitch and make something like this. Of course, with your sewing machine, it would look a little bit different, a little bit more regular, but yeah. In this case, the people shall see that you did that by hand, and I think then in this way it looks a little bit more handmade and really nice, I think. I wouldn't do this such irregular and scribbling like this, because I want the optic of this zigzag stitching, and I don't want this scribbling optic. So I do this, yeah, a little bit slower and try to get it a little bit more regular than this here, and not so extremely scribbled. And I think for those people who don't have a sewing machine or are in the really bad situation that the sewing machine is at the sewing machine doctor, like mine at the moment, that's a really cool thing, because you can imitate your stitching to your junk journal pages, even if you don't have a sewing machine. So let's look at this. I think that's nice. Okay, so another thing I would like to try, perhaps here on this part of the page. So let me just check how, oh yeah, okay, so that would be fine. It's not so big. Another thing that I would like to try here is to make, yeah, small lines, similar like this, but in the other direction, and much more of those lines. So let's try that, but I just have to think about when I go this direction here and this, yeah, that would work. So I make my lines like this, because perhaps you think, okay, I would like to have a little bit of a bigger frame. Then of course you could do it like this. Okay, so of course this is something that's not so elegant or something like that. It's much thicker, but I think it can be a cool addition to a page that's not so whimsical or not so, yeah, with not so many details on it or something like that, so that you can put this really, how is this called? I don't know the English word for that, what I want to say, but you see that this is really something like a louder frame. This is really quiet and not so in the focus, and this is really, yeah, sorry, I think you know what I mean. A variation of this I'm just thinking about can be 4 lines like this, 4 lines like this, and so on. I think we did that in the preschool. When we had a little break or something like that, we did that very often, and I just remembered this. And we did whole pages of this. And I think that can be a cool thing too. So here you have to check 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that the lines are nearly the same length, because otherwise you would have a problem to connect those both here with each other. Of course you can leave it like this is, but when you want to have a whole frame, then the lines should be nearly the same length, that this can work. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we have this. And now you have this page full of new ideas, and I think that's, yeah, for me that's a really cool thing. Yeah, that's it. So I know, a really simple thing, but as you know, in this journal I wanted to keep all those easy things, and I want to go back to the roots a little bit with my crafting at the moment, and I think with this one step to this goal is done. and hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you would like to try this out for your own journals, perhaps with colored pencils, with some other things, or yeah, some ideas here inside. Of course, when you make this here as an example sheet or something like that, that's loose and not in a journal, you could also use this sheet later to make some little tags or cards or something like that, or even for stamps or something like that, by cutting it here and here and here. So you have those 6 things here, and you can decorate them and of course use them in your journals. You don't have to make it in such a journal like me. You can also try that out on a sheet of paper, of course, and then you can use the stuff in your journals. Okay, so hopefully that was a little bit helpful. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully we will see the next time. If you don't have already, please subscribe to my channel. I would be really happy if you do that. Or if you want to follow me, for example, on Instagram, I'm Luise Heinzl at Instagram. And all the other informations about my shop, my website, my blog, and all that stuff are linked down below in the description box. I would be very happy if you would like to visit some of my social medias and leave me a comment or a review or something like that. And yeah, we will see the next time. Bye bye.